Okay. Okay. Let's start. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutle Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna devotees, Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kipasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So, couple of things. I think we were just discussing, Bharat Prabhu and I, and we feel, I think it is good to let's come on the same page. I see that different devotees and privately also devotees have told me whether this Varna should be, there should be Varna division in Vaishnava society or not. That is a question first we need to tackle, really understand in deeply in different aspects of it. That how can a Vaishnava above the four Varnas can be classified now under the Varnasrama, under the Varna system. So why don't we take up what Srila Prabhupada says about it? By the time 1977 came in, after 12 years of pushing on this movement, Srila Prabhupada now had what to do now in the future, and so that has not been done. And just like I wrote in the WhatsApp that ashrama had been divided from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati onwards, and little bit Varna, the Brahmana initiation was Varna division, little bit, but the other divisions were not done. Now, Srila Prabhupada, he started talking about because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had instructed this to our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, of course, he has talked a lot about it in his purports and explanations and instructions to Srila Prabhupada that we need to divide Vaishnava society into Varnashrama, Devi Varnashrama, not just Varnashrama. So how it is being done, he gave many instructions on ashrama divisions. 100 years back, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati did that, a little more years back. And then on the ashrama front, and then Srila Prabhupada continued on and gave many more instructions. And there are many more in different other scriptures we can find if details are required. But as far as Varna is concerned, a few things of Brahmana was given, but not the whole thing. And also training in occupational was not there other than preaching Krishna consciousness. So other aspects of Varna were not done, and also division of the society was not done. But we can see how Srila Prabhupada is telling to do now. So I was thinking, why don't we take up this Srila Prabhupada's morning conversation. He had a conversation on February 14th, 1977. It's quite famous for devotees who are researching these things and trying to understand. Um, oh, let me bring that up in Prabhupada Bani. Okay, let me share this. And it's not a whole lot where he discusses a few places he does that, and then we can. So there is a room conversation. Varnashrama system must be introduced. This is the title. Like people know about this. So for February 14th, and we can.
Yeah, what do you call that? Yes, that took the mind of counsel and fled. But this man had the same soul, the same son. Not more than that. Then they will come. If that's done, then I will go to have some
potential to be educated and how will we recognize them?
Either educate them or control them. Give them facility of education, but there is no education at all.
Let me. How was the audio, Prabhu?
It was good.
So let me start this thing up.
Even for the wife, there is no education. So we are taking on the point of education. To educate certain section as Brahmana, certain section as Kshatriya, certain section Vaishnava. In that education, we don't distinguish. Because he's coming from a Sudra family. Get education, be qualified, then you talk. But not by both.
Lord Chaitanya, when Ramananda Roy brought this up, he said it was not possible in this age to introduce this.
Yes. Not that he did not say it's possible. Your bad doctor. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was interested only on the spiritual side. He had no idea of material side. He rejected material side.
So don't we do that also?
So our position is different. We are trying to implement Krishna consciousness in everything. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally took sannyas. He rejected completely material. Distinction. But we are not going to be distinction. We are trying to cement the troubled position of this. That is also in the prescription of Bhagavad Gita. We are not rejecting the whole society. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected everything. Your back. Rejected meaning I do not take much interest in it. But it is extra. We are simply interested in the internal, which is better. Our duty is we shall arrange the external aspects also so nicely that one day we will come to the spiritual platform very easily. Paving the way. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personality like that, they have nothing to do with material work. We are preaching. We are teaching, therefore we must face the situation in such a way that gradually we will be promoted. It is not required.
Varnasrama is not required.
Not required. Chaitanya denied. I have not Brahman, I have not. Kshatriya, I have not Gita, I have not Gita. He rejects it. But in the Bhagavad Gita, the Chaturvarnam Maya system. So we are system. Preaching system is my system.
But in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's practical preaching, he only
That is not
Yeah.
possible for ordinary man.
what specifically induced people to chant. He only introduced it
But
to
who is
chant.
God? Who is God?
Well, if they won't chant, then neither will they train up in the Varnasrama.
Dancing will be there.
That's the key.
But you cannot expect that people will chant next session. They cannot even chant 16 now.
Well, we've been
That's just, they are going to say no.
no, but if they at least will chant and take some.
Dancing will go on. That is not stop. At the same time, the Varnasrama Dharma must to say to make the way easy.
Well, at least my own understanding was that the chanting was introduced in the age of Kali because Varnasrama is
Because
not
it is clean to mind. Chanting will not stop.
So therefore the chanting was introduced and to replace all of the systems of Varnasrama and like
Yes,
that.
it can be replaced, but who is going to replace it? Then people are not so advanced. So they do imitate Haridas Thakur to chant. It's not possible.
So let's discuss this, sometime. First of all, I love this that all the devotees we hear from Srila Prabhupada attentively. I wish the whole world listens like that, to Srila Prabhupada, and then to respectfully listen and then hear, assimilate, and then discuss it and then implement it. So let's discuss.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I don't know if you saw the question in the chat.
Okay. Is it right to start Varnasrama farm communities before properly establishing Sankirtan movement in major cities? Who is this?
VPD.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna. So in this conversation, Srila Prabhupada, they just said like that, no? That make the way easy. Make the way easy. How do we establish Sankirtan movement in the major cities without making the way easy, because people are not able to chant purely like Lord Chaitanya? So that was the whole point he was making. And we can see Srila Prabhupada himself, he established a Sankirtan movement in the major cities. And something happened. Now, it's not because the Varnashrama was not introduced, that's the reason. There is a combination of many reasons. And but the contributing factor is also there, that this was also there, that there were there was no fallback. People, if they fall down from the spiritual platform, then there is nothing, no protection. So, and Srila Prabhupada has explained this other places. Why are they in the future conversation as we go? Srila Prabhupada talks about that a lot. He explains this concept more and more, that how um, but they are Brahmanas. Srila Prabhupada, but they are not Brahmanas. Why are they falling down if they are Brahmanas? So you see what happens is when some leader falls down, then the whole thing collapses. And because there is no other recourse for him, he doesn't know what else to do. And I mean, more and more I see when we preach to the brahmachari, new people, and sometimes people become brahmacharis or they are working someplace. They want to understand how to lead a life which is molded in Krishna consciousness, and which they can mold to make it simplified so that they can chant, they can do morning programs, and they can have their wife, child. I was just talking to a devotee, and he was explaining how 10 to 11 hours, 12 hours sometimes he has to work every day. And commute is also there. And then it can go away anytime, a job. So it's so much troublesome for chanting and preaching, and we don't know what is going to do happen. I was just hearing Srila Prabhupada's lecture in the morning today, and it says a life should be calm and quiet, peaceful life, not this tension and anxiety, traveling so much, and ugra life. So, of course, to start it, it is in the cities people are congregating, but to little bit after, like I experienced myself in New York City, and that there were young people who were coming to Krishna consciousness, especially in the West. I saw they need to get married quite soon because they have been having illicit sexual connections and all these other sinful activities from childhood, literally, and many traumas and many things. So it's like, and we were doing every single day Sankirtan, every single day for years, every single day, at least an hour, Srila Prabhupada says, and chanting, hearing, preaching completely. And I saw still, like what Srila Prabhupada says here, but who will chant like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? We have so many impurities, so many infections, and so the fall downs and all these things keep happening. And so it is not if as Srila Prabhupada says, the Sankirtan, like chanting is not, Varnashrama is not required. But practically speaking, in the Kali Yuga, because of the past infections and habits and the way the material world, the capitalist system is so exploitative in the cities, that the workers are like squeezed out, and they are not thinking, oh, they need to do a morning program, so we should start later in the day, give them some break in the daytime so they can, they can hear and read during the day, Trisandhya, they can do, they can't, there is no, the world is not created, material working environment is not created like that. So when young people or even older people, they are coming to Krishna consciousness, it is dichotomy, how to practice Krishna conscious life in this kind of a schedule and work environment, and the especially for family, it is really really hard. So becoming Krishna consciousness, keeping maintaining Krishna consciousness. These are the two aspects. So start chanting Krishna conscious everything, but to maintain whole life, it has to be divided, and the farm, and like organize it properly. And once we do that, as Srila Prabhupada is paving the way, make it smoother, then the Krishna conscious movement in major cities can be re-established really strongly. So what I've been thinking is to have these Varnasrama community, Varnasrama college teaching communities next to, very near to each of the major cities, cosmopolitan cities in the world. I mean, I'm thinking of US right now. So I'm thinking like 20, 25 city, colleges, communities like that should be there within an hour to 2 hours, maximum 2 hours, because the city people have to commute sometimes. People in the farm need to commute sometimes. Visitors have to come, and they need to, like media needs to come, preachers need to come, and they need to go and preach. So many interactions have to happen. So they can't be too far away. Very very in rural areas. So that's what I've been thinking, and that's what I've been working on, focused on for all these years, knowing that to really establish Sankirtan movement in the major cities, we need the help of this Varnashrama system, a backing, a support system, ecosystem, and then it will be a proper established way. But let other devotees also comment, please, whoever would like to.
There was another question in the chat also, how to draw a line between a calm, quiet life and doing Sankirtan in downtown.
Why don't you, on the first part itself, why don't you comment? You were living in a city and working corporate job and everything. What your experience, no?
Well, being a father, now I'm a father of two kids, 14, 15 years old. And when they were growing up, getting into the age of kindergarten, I was commuting every day. I was working as a consultant, and it was painful for me to see my wife being at home alone, no support, and the two kids, they did not get any association. I was thinking, soon they will go to school. The Krishna consciousness for my wife to practice is very hard. At work, I had the opportunity to at least chant before I go to work. I had the discipline to do that, and also I had the opportunity to stop working, and I did that because the commuting and traveling to other cities, it was not conducive for a simple lifestyle. And yeah, I would say here it's important to not mix spiritual principles with with the material realm of yeah, Sankirtan in in downtown, that is a higher mission. And living a quiet life, Prabhupada is quoting Chanakya Pandit in that regard. A happy man is a man that doesn't need to leave home. And Prabhupada also explains that the Indian people, they are still intelligent in that way, where they go to work and provide for the family so the family can stay home. So sometimes the father is going to the city to just provide for a simple life, but that's still very busy, and the father definitely has no time for Sankirtan. So how do we live together with other families? How can I work and be in a spiritually conducive environment and practicing Krishna consciousness? That were the question that I was asking myself, and that's why I left the city lifestyle for over 10 years. I'm not living in the city, and I would again do that. So I would distinguish there between brahmacharis, whose first business is preaching, then, and grihastas. Yeah, and that brings me to the question that Spirit Soul, or Krishna Das Prabhu, was writing in WhatsApp, and you referred to that in the beginning. Where is Srila Prabhupada saying we should divide the devotee communities?
It is further down in this same conversation. We'll come to that. But Badri Prabhu, you wanted to share something?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I was listening to what Bharatdasa Prabhu was saying. In Manusmriti, Manu says, a householder, a grihasthan who does not earn, and a sannyasi who earns, both of them should be thrown out of the country. Because the very basis of a householder is to provide for the family. If a householder ceases to earn, the whole Varnasrama dharma collapses. Then who is going to feed the brahmacharis? Who is going to take care of the family? Who is going to feed the sannyasis? Who is going to take care of the welfare of the society? So a householder who does not earn essentially is leading to the cause, or essentially is becoming a cause of collapse of this dharma. So such a person should be exiled. Directly contradicting that is a sannyasi. A sannyasi is supposed to spend all of his or her time in spiritual pursuits. If the sannyasi goes and starts earning, once again that leads to the moral collapse of this Varnasrama dharma, so that sannyasi should be exiled. This is Manusmriti. So, yes, how much should one earn is a very, very tricky question. If a person who has, let us say, a high flyer consulting job, working off of a city, let us just say makes X amount of dollars a year. If the same person comes to work in a farm makes 50% of that. And if they make 50% of that working in a farm and they are able to perform that along with the spiritual activities, along with Sankirtana, along with focusing their time, 50% of the or more of their time in spiritual pursuits, would that be ideal for that person, that family, and for that community? Right? That is the question. Now, how many people would be ready to say, I will make 50% of what we are making for a household income and come be part of a farm community primarily for the spiritual pursuit, or the conducive environs that such a farm community will offer for my spiritual pursuits is the question. If we can determine the answer to that, then we can say how viable or what is the level of viability and success of establishing these farm communities.
Can you restate the question again, Prabhu?
If we were to say a person earns, let us say, X amount of dollars, right? If that family that is making X dollars a year makes only 50% of that, living in a farm community, right? If they make the same X amount of dollars, or if they made more than X amount of 150% of that X dollars, no issues at all. If they made only 50% of that, but the farm community provides them a conducive environment for them to be able to be involved in devotional service and spiritual pursuits, would that family and that person be okay with only making 50% of what they were making outside and still being part of the farm community? If that mentality and if that attitude is there, then you know that these communities are going to be viable and they will succeed. If that mentality and attitude is not there, then you know what is your probability of success even before starting.
Well, the first thing is that first of all, I mean, when one is living in the city, or near the suburbs, big cities, then the biggest cost is housing, very expensive, and the food, very expensive, you know, and education of children, very expensive. So, I mean, the whole point of coming in a more simpler environment is to, so that the husband and probably even mother, they don't need to spend so much time trying to earn all that money, that much, and to reduce the amount of money required in the household.
That is perfect. If we can say the cost of living is far less, that is a very valid point.
And the second thing is also that one does want to reduce, let's say a house has in a city environment or suburb, a 4 5 bedroom house, bring it down to 2 bedroom if possible, 3 bedroom, little bit. I'm just giving an example to reduce some things so that one needs to, so that can only, Shri Prabhupada say, chanting all is needed because it will cleanse the mind. And also without that cleansing of the mind, why would one want to come? Because the needs will still be there. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, everyone. I was just thinking, I think a piece of this too, which is, of course, I guess obvious, but whether it's a young family or elders, and this exists in any community, not just the one we're talking about, is just that feeling of having to have security for the future. So I think not only the cost of living and the cost of all of these things now, but knowing that whatever we have to set aside for the children's future, for our future, And then also being able to care for elders, because many of us have parents that are elderly. So we have to think, will our lifestyle choices be viable to provide for elder care? And do these communities have that, almost like these agraharams or other communities in India, where you have multiple generations of people committed for the longevity of sustaining this type of lifestyle? So then people have to have faith and assurance that the farm community that they're living in will provide that and has the ability to be there for all of them. Because even if they're making less money, many of us wouldn't really care, in the sense we have everything we need. It's like we're here together as a community, but we have to make sure that we have enough to keep it going uh, for the long haul, for multiple generations, to have that security.
So that is a very, very, very important point which you made. And I forgot to add the fourth biggest cost is health. You know, so of course what you are saying is a very important point about elders, and anything could happen in the community. Child may be autistic, needs special needs, and some husband may suffer some issues, so that the bread earner becomes less productive. And so it's like whether we are able to, as a community, provide the support structure and act like that. I don't know if we can at this stage that much. I mean, we should endeavor in that direction for sure. And knowing that each of the limbs of the body, they contribute eh, almost equally, in a sense. Because I was just talking 1 week back, 4 or 5 days back, to a very, very nice Vaishnav devotee, chant like 64 rounds a day. He's living in Manhattan, and I really, really want him to come and stay here. He says, I just want to leave my body now. uh, you know so, but just by being near him is so purifying. you know and he's sick. He needs an hospice care soon, not today, but maybe in near future. And I've been thinking about how to do the hospice here, and but the zoning doesn't allow hospice. But one could do apartments, single bedroom apartments or studio apartments for elderly. And because just by being near him, even in those last, let's say, few couple of years, 3 years, he has to, just chant and leave the body. He's in that mood, very, very purifying for anybody, from children included. Nobody sees that otherwise. You see only the TV and all these things of enjoying, enjoying, enjoying. And here is a Vaishnava who is happy, very happy, and just preparing to leave his body happily. You know, it's like so impactful in the consciousness. So definitely, but how much capacity we have in the community by community, I feel it will, because I've been trying to develop it, but I don't have the resources right now. I understood how I could develop the resources now. So gradually it could come. And the other thing about the parents, that is not unnatural. It's not like something extra which we need to do, for sure. And as a community, like, I know whoever is coming to the community, I've been thinking of the same thing along those lines, how to provide all this. So one room, like I've been thinking of my parents, I want to bring them, and so definitely. So cost of housing, Hari Kirtan Prabhu and I, we have been talking about how to bring the housing cost down, what to do, how to do it. So, but I think we need to figure out how to reduce the costs of everybody in a community fashion. Like if the contractor is not charging heavily, and then trying to like squeeze out from one way another way, this manner, many contractors do that. They also make money on the parts. um Sometimes some are unethical also. They'll say this much cost of so many, and this problem happened, I have to do something else. So if they honestly and something which is reasonable, the contractor charges, it will help a lot in the community. I have tried so many ways to try to figure out how to bring like wood and this and that, but it's really tough to bring cost down in this environment with the energy codes and the price which is required. Yes, Prabhu?
Hari Kirtan was unmuting, and also I want to say Hari Hari Bol to Neela Hargreaves, which maybe is Hari Bol Ananda Hargreaves, and then also Christoph Prabhu is joining in.
Hari Kirtan, Prabhu.
No, yeah. Haribol Prabhu. I wanted to, something you were saying, Jessica Mataji, was that brought something to mind for me. So, in this discussion of community, I think, at least for me, I can speak for myself and my family, that the income is not such a major concern, provided, like, so the idea of moving to a community and, having your income be half of what it was, or, I missed part of that conversation, but it's not such a major concern, provided, like you were saying, Jessica, that the necessities are taken care of, and you have some security, or there's some, that there's some, like you said, older, your parents are taken care of. There's somehow that you can provide, and that's stable, that's secure. But also that, like, your children, oh, well, what are they going to do when they get older? Do they have to start from nothing? It's like we have nothing that we can help them with or pass on to them, or so what does our endeavors amount to something that gives them an opportunity as well? So these are, for me, this is the the things that come up, in joining any community. What kind of support am I going to get in exchange? And it doesn't have to be a monetary one. If there's a place for me and my family to live, and then as my children get older, they have their own places that they, when they start their own families, they also have, housing and an engagement, and that within the community, that they have a place that's there. Then I think the question of losing some amount of income because of a change in situation is not so much of a concern, because ultimately that's what the income is for, is to provide that for ourselves and our families. So that's kind of my thinking. I don't know if this has already been brought up. I came in late to the discussion, but.
And another thing is that many of the jobs in the cities are at least at this time behind the computer, are like hanging by a thread. There is a strain of anxiety, even terror among behind computer because of the AI. And always it has been happening many times. People during like your business kind of not working. The construction business because of the downturn. So it's, I mean, the thing is to secure food, shelter, and cloth. That's what Srila Prabhupada says again and again. Over the centuries, over the millennium, that's the main three shelters that we need to make sure so if that is secured, that itself is much like there is one our Prabhu had Vamshi Priya Prabhu, he had written that what is the difference between Sankirtan and quiet life. Sankirtan in the downtown areas and a quiet life in the calm quiet life in the cities. So one is, I'll let me just address Prabhu. This Sankirtan in the in downtown, it is of course if we are able to do uh, daily at least 1 hour, but more hours. And people who are when they are married, then it becomes tough because then they can't probably do it daily, and for many hours they have to start working, husband at least, and then child is there, then the ladies are not able to go out like that. So Srila Prabhupada says in the same conversation, I think, or earlier, but I think in the same conversation he says brahmacharis, the preachers should stay in the city and householders should move to the farm communities. And then he says whoever is not preaching, he should move to the farm community. So it's kind of like that, one who is able to preach daily, and one is in a, not a bubble, but in a oasis of Krishna consciousness, then it is perfect. That is where people are conditioned souls. But who is not, they should move to the city, they should move to the farm. And the security, the calm, secure, that these three shelters, at least one is secured. Come what happens, war happens, this happened, nothing. There'll be food, there'll be housing. There's no rent.
Yeah.
Mortgage, foreclosure.
So these three things, housing, food, and clothing, or basically, your necessities, essentially. The list can be a little bit different, but essentially the necessities. It's not just how to secure it for ourselves. It's one thing to secure for today. It's one thing to secure for a month or a year for myself. But then also, what is in place that I know that I can arrange for my children, that they also have some security in that. So if I'm working in a job, I buy a place, I pay off a mortgage. Okay, I have something I can pass on to my children. I have some wealth that maybe, I can build, that I can pass on to my children. And there's some security, that I can take care of my parents, as much as an illusion that it may be or may not be. There's always never any guarantee, of course, in this world, but the illusion is strong. We think that our endeavors are
The thing is about this inheritance, passing off to children. I've been thinking quite many times about this thing, and I've observed how different cultures have used this or done this thing, or what happens if they don't pass on. And I see in the Vaishya communities in India, that is big time. That is how you pass on wealth through in the Vaishya communities. But in the Brahman communities, according to the which you read last week, that if they are not qualified, then Manu Samhita is saying, and other scriptures are saying, don't pass.
right.
To pass on among the Brahmanas. As far as the Kshatriyas are concerned, we know from the Bhagavatam also that only the qualified people, children, were given the thing. Otherwise, another qualified person would be put by the Brahmanas to head the. It was not a given that the inheritance would be passed on.
Right.
And Shudra people did not have any assets like that to pass on. They have trade skills to do. As far as that's the scriptural thing, and a little bit India, but in England, you see, what is that system where only the eldest son gets? There's a name for it, no? So all the other, like let's say there are 4 sons of a gentleman. Only the first son will inherit. That was the British system. And the other 3 have nothing. Nothing. So you see, one of the reasons why the British Empire expanded so much is because those 3 sons, many of them were trying to figure out what to do. And they went everywhere and they found opportunities just so that they figure out. I mean, there is a lot to be said of by giving education and character and skills, like in your case, like your father did with you, Hari Kirtan Prabhu. The character, the skill and education on every aspect, and then he prepared you for the world. And I mean, isn't that the most important inheritance? I mean, giving to children. Then because their varnas may be different than what we are thinking, and they may have their own karma, their own thing. They can create anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question, or the thing that comes to mind for me, is less of being able to pass down some wealth or some business or house or something, but more that the arrangement, the situation that is that my energy is put into, has a place and some sort of structure that my children also can be, nicely taken care of, and they have a place there. They have some sort of being able to move into it, that, some accommodation is arranged, that, there's this idea in the Amish communities and some other Mennonite communities and such, where when uh, when a young boy gets married and he's going to start his own family, then the whole community comes together and they build him a barn and a house, and so the inheritance that the children get is this community that is looking out for them, that is there, and they're taken care of. So rather than getting a chunk of money and then like, okay, here you go, you've got to go off into the world and be independent, and you would just inherit the money. That's what you get from your parents. You get some other source, some other assistance, some other way to help, start off your life. So something like that is, it does not have to be financial or property based or something, but as long as there is some form of security, something that, we don't feel like we're putting all our endeavors in, and then the kids turn to us and they're like, well, great, thanks parents, I got nothing, no help.
Understand. Yeah, a lot to figure out how to do this. Um, who was this rich guy? He said, I'm not giving any inheritance to my children, like billionaire. Who is this? I recently was reading. Uh, I forget now. Maybe it will come to me. And
Buffett,
Buffett was saying, huh?
he says that, yeah.
Why does he say that?
Basically, everyone has to find their own purpose and, be successful on their own. I mean, that's what they say, right? I mean, it's not that the children will suffer any material loss, they're still all millionaires. But of course, they're not multi-billionaires.
Yeah, multi-billionaires, yeah.
In the chat, Vanchipriya Prabhu was saying Jackie Chan also. And Leo is saying financial literacy and generational wealth workshops from prominent Vaishyas could assist this dilemma.
I mean, the way the Indian Vaishnavas, Vaishyas, they do, no? And I've seen Vaishya, very good devotees in Jaipur. I've seen, observed from childhood, I've seen this thing, how they pass on this generation. They don't just give the money. What they do is they do like a startup. Literally like a startup, they do their children. Like Vaishya children by 14 years, they train them from childhood and they're going to school, but the school, Srila Prabhupada, exactly how Srila Prabhupada says that they go to school only to learn maths and English and like that, not too much. By 12, 14 years, 15 years is basically they are given a little seed amount. They are given some ideas, but let them do it. They do the endeavor, and they're given some seed amount by the parents. Other people are thought, oh, you are not giving to your child. Like there's a peer pressure also that parents also, parents meaning all the brothers, meaning uncles, all are joint families, no? So the uncles all are supposed to give money to the children to as a seed money for them to start their own businesses. And it could be the same business, it could be an extension of the same business or a different business, whatever the person says. By 16 years of age, 17 years, they get married. Like they are set up in the next 2 they all help them do that, and they may even give them a house, they may even give them something to for the family to get started, so that by 18, 19 years old they have children already. I've seen that from child. Pradyumna Prabhu, he is from one of those families. What do you say?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, bro, this is the practice generally. As far I do not know all India, but yeah, in Rajasthan, they generally, like, rich people, They just given a startup like business. You do like this, then you can earn the money. And it's yeah, you are saying right. At very early age, they are get married, and by the age of 22, 23, they have childrens. And just like after an age, the children also they grow up very early. Then they are, I think, at the age of 40, 45, they are like free. Like that is the culture. And you're right, they give some money so that they do not give the whole money. They will start up some business. Okay, you start like this, then they will grow separately. That is it.
Your father has given you?
Yeah, he's little late, bro.
Going on. Uh, Mahabharata going on. So for devotees,
Yeah.
different becomes different. No? It's like Krishna's mercy. So yeah, so Leo Prabhu, this is how they do it. They give more education and seed money, you know, something like what you are saying, financial literacy and generational wealth. So
Yeah,
our
Prabhu,
Yes, Prabhu.
yeah, I want to ask him. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Just like Prabhu, two, three questions. Just like you were telling that these are the shelter like housing, food, and clothing. So even because I was there in 1 year in Varnasram, that about a farm community. So even we bring people there. Okay, we give you house also, a shelter, what we call that, food also, clothing also. Still, people were not ready to come there. So, as Prabhu was saying that it is a shelter. If we provide them, then they will feel secure and safe. Still, people were not coming here. Just like faith should be developed. That okay, I have these basic things. Still, people are not coming. So, what
so
is the reason?
a big thing is, see, is a whole environment like social, financial, economic situation in the US. At least I know young people have lot more trouble than in India. India, there is a support system, family support, more or less. Family, society support system is there. Here it is not so much. There is a section of the society which is given support, upper middle class and above, but that is only a few percentage of the population. The rest, they don't have so much support financially, and society wise, not support is not like that. So there is more pain to survive, security, like rent is only almost 30, 40, sometimes 50% of the salary. So high rents. Food is very expensive. Health is health insurance, health issues, my God, a lot
Yeah.
very expensive. So not it's like hard hand to mouth situation, even for people who are earning a lot of money still. So there is this thing, that is why a security of something is important. But nothing will work until one wants to, no, nobody wants to will come here like that unless there is a, like Hari Kirtan Prabhu said also, there is a community help and everything. Of course, in our case, devotees would come because they want to be near with devotees and chanting and everything. But yeah, Bharat Prabhu, you wanted to add?
I saw Christoph was unmuting and also Leo raising the hand. Pradyumna, that was your question?
Yeah, yeah. I asked that, but I was telling Prabhu, and the thing is that one more thing to add is that unless one they have that consciousness that we have to live that peaceful life and Krishna consciousness, life is very easy to lead in farm communities. Unless people have that mindset, even there is all the shelters, they have money, they will not come to that farm community because they do not have that understanding.
I was just discussing this with one devotee. I don't want to take his name. He will get embarrassed or beat me up. He was just explaining that how is it, I mean, he knows all the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Very good devotee, very nicely situated. Everything is good. Uh, but seems like we get in comfort zone that, everything is going good. Why change it? Why disturb the situation for people who are situated well? So my point of view is that, see, if he's really situated well, and but the problem is wife and child is going to be issue. Children's education will always be a issue, character and everything, and wife's engagement will be an issue. Husband could feel like, oh, we are, and they may feel like overall they are doing good, but some way or the other, if nicely situated, then Krishna would, some what I have seen is Krishna arranges some things which push, like through the Maya, that push them away from that like they feel so secure. That poem is there, no? What is it? Jalatala. That sh- Rajudya Prabhu, what is that song? Where this material world, it is like a lotus leaf.
Kamal Dal Jal
Oh.
Jeevan.
You don't feel when we are there, you don't feel like that. Aure mana. So that anytime it can get disturbed and then you don't know. So sometimes Krishna disturbs it just so that we move towards more simpler life so that our family can be better situated. But if the situation is not there like that, then why would he want to move and give them, no? He may keep wherever they are, sthane sthita, shruti gatam.
Yeah, but still put that training and that mindset is required because I have seen because that even brahmacharis they were preaching in Jaipur. They were sometimes called for the community for the that farm community for 1 or 2 weeks. So they will make some excuse and they will go back to okay, no, there is some preaching work in Jaipur collection of there.
So see, what I feel, no, what the most attractive feature for devotees is kirtan.
Yeah, that is.
Kirtan. It should be so sweet, so wonderful. It just, I mean, intoxicating. I feel like that if morning somebody, like I know somebody is going to be chanting, that kirtan will be so good, I'll come running. Like we devotees,
Yeah.
every devotee I've seen, whichever way, variety it is, kirtan is the rasa is the most important. So I think that prasadam, devotee association, it should become so nice. But initially, like why we started on this thing is conflict resolution. The structure should be good so that later on all this don't get disturbed, which means security in land or income and housing and all these things. That's why we are talking about all these things. But after this thing is structurally assigned and defined and allocated, then this is just for devotees. That's not the most important. Most important is this part, the attractive feature of Krishna conscious association.
Mm.
I think that's the only way.
Yeah, bro. For you, yeah, like Grastana, very nice point you have said. Just like that, even when he's settled up, his wife and children, if they are not, no, just like I was there in farm community for 1 year. So earning was also nice because I am from that Vaishya community. I have done that kirtan, everything, but but wife was not feeling security. So for 1 year, he never came to that farm. Ultimately, I have to come back to Jaipur. That
Mhm.
was.
Sure. Christoph, Prabhu, you were saying something? Please share. Thank you for coming. I know today is not your day for computer work.
Yeah, try to stay away. Right, so I also joined late and didn't really read the chat and everything. But and maybe it was already discussed, or maybe not. Seems not. So what I would stress is that first we really come to this, or that that there's this understanding that actually the whole world economy and the whole how it's set up, the financial system, that's like an artificial system, right? So it's artificial. So we should not depend on that. And if I hear like, okay, income streams and this and that, and this is all artificial because next moment it can be taken away, and then what you have, right? And if a community, and this is what we also saw in the movement, right? So because we were not self-sustainable, so as soon as there's some interruption, COVID, then a lot of projects really struggle. So, and that's why also I think Prabhupada I think also really stressed this point that, or not, maybe not stressed in the sense, but definitely gave knowledge in this regard, that it is an artificial system, just like fake money. It's not based on it's not gold itself, but it's fake money, and basically everyone is screwed, right? And that's why we should not depend on that. And what we should depend on is skills and our own and building our own economy circles or economies, so that only surplus, if there is surplus, it can be sold to whatever, purchase some useful additional equipment or land or something, right? But never depend on outside income streams, just from an economic point of view. So then in general, of course, what I also would say is, sure, if we look at Vedic societies, how they were structured economically, and how, also money was structured, and donation and all that. So then we see, right, from, let's say, from top to bottom now, so Brahmins actually didn't really, so they didn't work in this sense, right? So how we understand working today, so they didn't receive money really. So we always read, okay, there's a sacrifice, the Brahmins get cows and land and gold, and if were fed well and all this, right? And then they distributed themselves again, only the necessities. So, but they basically worked for free, right? And only were sustained on a donation basis. So Kshatriyas, they basically conquered the land, or administer the land. They get taxes, but taxes not in the sense how we understand it today, but taxes also in grains. There's this, the best thing that you produce, you should give to the king, right? So there's this understanding. So also maybe gold, and they don't tax the Brahmins, They also don't tax the Shudras. They only tax the Vaishyas. So only on the Vaishya level, they have a kind of a monetary system, and in Vedic times, of course, like gold, but then also they trade with each other, like how we understand former trade works. So I give you a bag of rice, and you give me a calf or something, and or some wood or something. So that's all was also happening, but then also kind of a monetary system with gold. And the Shudras, they don't receive money, right? So money is only money in the broader sense, it's only on the Vaishya level basically, to make economy happen, economic cycles. And the Shudras, they didn't really receive money. They were cared for, right? So because they are said, it's like Shudras are like children. So as soon as you give money, that's basically like today, right? With the modern in the modern system, that's basically a form of exploitation, right? So because we see, right? So the money has no value today, inflated money. So the Shudra gives his work, and he's more and more exploited because he gets less and less value, purchase value for his work. That's why that's exploitation. So, and then he doesn't feel safe, and so the Shudras actually were taken care of like children, because they also cannot really handle money. They don't have because they are prone to exploitation, they don't really understand what the Vaishyas understand how things work. So that's why they can be exploited. So in a Vedic society, then the Shudra is taken care of, and then also what is interesting, that doesn't mean that they are kept like slaves. Like similar, like women are taken care of and protected, doesn't mean that they're slave in the household, right, and chained to the kitchen or something. That's always this stupid idea from whatever feminists. And then you see, I always remember this description of a British officer coming to India after they were ruled by the Mughals and all these, all the intense time they already had. And he said like he's a British officer, right? He meets regular people, Shudras, on the street, and they have more gold on them than the British king. This is a normal person. I mean, so then only it basically took the British Empire 100 years so that all the gold suddenly disappeared, right? So today, I mean, India still has this culture, but basically today, we know, right? So we know what happened. This is what they're after. But so basically showing, okay, Shudra still is like really, really wealthy. A Shudra from Vedic times is like basically a millionaire, better, rich billionaire is running around like, with gold, nobody, right? So they don't even have this kind of wealth. So real wealth, like real wealth. And then this is how, in general, I think the Vedic society was running economically, right? And then basically creating wealth for everyone, so everyone was in abundance, had this feeling, okay, I'm taken care of in my position, in my Varna, and so on. So now with this artificial system that we have all these kind of problems, right? And basically that's, we also know that's basically the root cause of Kali Yuga. That's just, we have this artificial money system, this fake money, because then suddenly couple people who control that have all this, can basically exploit everyone else because they control the monetary supply, so they can control everyone's creative energy, doing something. So I think that's very necessary understanding how then, so what we can do in communities that we want to build or that we need to build. And right, so we don't control the monetary system, so we cannot change anything there. But that's why we should not be dependent at all, right? It's nice to participate, right? So surplus, okay, you can do surplus stuff, and right, but that should never be the focus. Like Kirtan brought this example from the Amish, and just purely economically speaking, I know Nima, we already talked a bit about it as well. So they have, of course, other problems, but economically speaking, they see that every one of their members is part of the society, and that everyone is a valuable part of making a strong community, right? And that's why they have all the skills, right? I mean, they build the best housing, right? If you build a farm or a house like with natural wood and all these old skills, I mean that's worth millions of dollars basically, and they just built it like in a say like in a weekend, or maybe a little longer. And everyone starts out with that, right? And then they can be really focusing on becoming a valuable member of the community and don't have to struggle for the next 50 years, like basically everyone else has to do in the modern economic system, right? Okay, that's a couple of my ideas here.
Yes, sorry.
I think Leo's been waiting to say something.
You're very kind. Leo Prabhu, you're still there? Are you?
Yeah. Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare
On the
Krishna.
oh,
Yes,
Lord Sri Prabhupada.
yes, three beautiful.
So, yeah, that was. I'm just a premature baby right now when it comes down to these topics, and I'm not spiritual topics. I'm not too qualified. But I was just something that came into mind with all the brainstorming. And Hare Krishna, or Prabhu, it's been a while. I haven't heard from you or seen you. So I've seen your workshops for Simple Living, I believe. I haven't really attended. I seen some of them when they were free. That's the best thing I could say, bro. But yeah. So I guess my stance would be going back to what Christoph Prabhu was saying in this type of system that we're living in. So in Kali Yuga, everyone is Shudra. So in this sense, everyone is dependent, and the symptoms of it is also Kali Yuga is not being independent, always depending on somebody. And this modern day slavery is really is kind of what the prophecy is for that, where everybody is a slave, to this type of system where it's fake money, everything else, taxed. So this is all part of the age of Kali. And so I was just trying to state that there has been systems and there's been different type of ways to break away from the system, from different type of cultures, different type of sub nations and subcultures as well, like Amish, etc. And so I've been looking really into these type of ways where um you could you could definitely have a religious faith-based type institution and break away with it, because there's right here financially, um it, it's very hard worldwide. And I feel the best thing is really the ideal sentiment is simple living, minimalism. That's those are the people that really want to go into these type of farm communities, but based upon necessities and another type of you could say trials and tribulations, this will be needed for families, financial security and that type of ongoing situations. So um so it's something to really be independent from the system, and it's really looking into pooling, tithing, seeking ways to get dividends as a community and really grow. It's not
Could you
so much
explain
like
the
I'm
pool? I think what all? I mean, can you explain a little bit what are these?
yeah, so like I was looking into like trust, certain type of faith-based organizations, creating them, and where as a community you could everybody will pull in for like a commodity or some type of investment, whether it be in Bitcoin, gold, or that is this is really should be based on backed by prominent vices really, and then over and it will have to be under a certain type of trust. So with these type of trusts, there's a lot of benefits to it, where you could get these dividends from these type of investments as a pool, as a community. So everybody pools in, and everybody could get dividends from it. And this is all being done. These are being done by certain type of high class vaishyas, but for material purposes. So if this could be done as a centralized, like faith based, with meaning, with spiritual substance, this could this could definitely be that type of answer to the dilemma. Just one of them, where there's probably other people who don't want to be doing simple living, and based upon their guna and whatever their spiritual karma endeavor is. There's always the city aspect of it. But those that want to live into the farm community, they can't expect to have a mansion in the middle of the farm. That doesn't make any sense. So it's like it's just I feel like there's different tactics and different ways where I'm emerging. I was a full blown socialist communist product of college and universities and liberal arts, and I have a background of Vaishyas. On my father's side, being farm, cattle, and business and that type of background. And I really pushed against that. But now that I'm emerging more and more, based upon, I guess, that type of um, uh, karmic implication, I'm really trying to focus on breaking away from this type of system. So, and there's different type of ways too. Like it's also in the urban area as well, and I've seen where they do like garden bombs, where a person buys a new house in the urban areas, in this near the cities or the suburbs, and the whole community, they come and they help organize a farm. I mean, not a farm, but like a self-sustaining garden, and it does it quick. 20 people, boom, 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 like that type of scenario. So yeah, there's a lot to learn, but I was just this whole dilemma. I have a family. I'm a householder. Um, you know, unfortunately, right now my wife is working, which isn't bad neither, but it's just that the investment really should be for the children. I'm letting too much of the system. I'm raising my children. So the principle should definitely be Vedic in that type of way. So I appreciate everybody's input. I'm learning, and so yeah, everyone's nurturing right now. As I'm not fully matured spiritually, but I just wanted to state that there's certain type of things that I would like to share as I'm on this path as well. So everybody's parallel, and so yeah, that's one of them. Financial literacy, generational wealth in that sense, especially for householders, and whether it's through tithing or pooling, and there's certain ways to do it when it comes down to entities, because everything this is all, it's called legal fictions. This is all legal fictions. So it's something to really look into for those that are interested, and I hope everyone probably does it, because this is everyone's Shudra, and this is not ideal, especially if it's not part of, or if you're looking for a different way of living to be free. Unfortunately, it's the age of Kali. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Leo Prabhu.
This was sometime back in the conversation that I had a comment, and it's just that I was looking at hang on a second. Can you close the door, please? So there's a lot of noise in the back of my house here. So in the structure of the community, I was kind of thinking over, some of the things I said earlier, and then also what others have brought up. We can have a group of people that live next to each other, and they get together for gatherings, but they all have independent land that they own and independent businesses, and nobody's really depending on each other. And that can be one type of community. We see that in the devotees down in Alachua and in various places. I mean, Mayapur and anywhere you go, that's a very common thing. You have more like neighborhoods rather than community. It's not much reliance on each other. And then you see more the idea of an intentional community, is that there's deep reliance on each other, and we're investing in each other, and in as a group. And the thing that comes to mind for me in regards to that is, so what is done with, or how does the community facilitate growth? How does it facilitate as the community grows? Ideally, you want the community to grow. You want the number of people involved in it to increase, and everything to become more and more prosperous. So that's where kind of use of resources, when everyone puts in their endeavor, the results of that endeavor, whatever resources are generated from that, whether the wealth of the collective community increases or, in some way. So then how that is used and such. So, purchasing more land so that you can accommodate more members of the community, maybe some more equipment, a sawmill or plows, or increasing the size of the cow herds so that there is more milk or different things available to the community. Seeing that kind of investment into the community because of everyone's endeavors, that definitely brings some feeling of security that, okay, this is, my endeavors are going to increase the prosperity. And so then, my family members and others that join, there is more there, rather than, if things end up being fixed, then as more people join or as there are more children, then the resources just get divided thinner and thinner. So it's something that has come up. There was a conversation with another devotee, Manoram, who runs the youth ministry in ISKCON. And he and I were sitting and we were talking about, kind of the younger generation and how they're not moving forward and taking up, leadership and positions within the society, within ISKCON. And he was commenting that, well, the difficulty is that the older people, they don't have any guarantee of being taken care of by the society. There's no structure set up to make sure that they're taken care of. And so they're very reluctant to let go of their positions, whatever corner they have chewed out for themselves within the society. And so they don't want to hand that off to the younger generation, because then where will they be? There's nothing there to. So these are important considerations in a community, is, making sure that the elderly, they have something that is very, they're taken care of nicely. And then also that there is sufficient resources and such within the community. Like Christoph was saying, that we're not relying on the outside society. We're kind of pulling away from that. We're looking to each other, looking to the community and the structure that we are trying to establish, rather than looking, oh, well, there's, you can get a job outside and there's, you can make money and buy your own land, or, rather than that, we look that, okay, we have our own land within our community and we're looking to expand that and accommodate more and more people ultimately. So kind of an internal structure. I apologize if my thoughts are all over the place. So that's kind of what has come to mind when I was listening to different things people have brought up.
I was able to follow clearly. And I get also, you mentioned before, if you had responded to Jessica and what Badri and Jessica shared in the beginning, I think it fits very well to what you shared. And what I hear from you, what I get is, first, value that's not necessarily financial value, but value in terms of a security also, but value in terms of, what is the community contributing, and what is the stability, and is there, you would be investing, if you would know there's security, that you're investing into something that is sustainable and that keeps going in terms of your kids, not that they are safe in terms of patching a barrel with holes, like the material well, but so that your kids have a better start off, to not be so dependent on the system. And now, where are these securities? That brings me to when Badri shared in the beginning. I thought of that book that I started reading with my kids sometime, the Arthashastra from Kautilya. And it's saying exactly, you pay this much for this kind of job, and the different grades. And then when Christoph is speaking about, let's get more independent from the system, and they didn't use money. There was gold, and here it's written in panas. So here it's still written how much gold is worth how much silver, etc. So, and also when Leo is speaking, I think Leo is building on what Christoph said in terms of let's get independent, and there are other systems, and there's hope that we can build them. We can build them, and that's what I get is the purpose of us being here. When Nima shared in the beginning about the costs, I remember in Newports it was maybe something like 1,500 10 years ago or so for some rent, and if I would rent something in my hometown, it would be something like 2,000 now. We paid 800 per month for food, 300 for health insurance, then there are other insurances, and you're just running in the hamster wheel. I was running in the hamster wheel constantly, and then I don't have time to educate my children. So also what I hear is, the mindset of easy versus simple or simplistic. It can be misunderstood very easily. Yeah, some people, they were thinking when I said I go to Fiji that I just want to swing on a hammock the whole time. So simple living, and I think that misconception is also there for many, as I hear someone saying, like, there's hardship in some way, just from shifting from the land, from the city to the land, in getting out of our tracks, out of our habits, and the attractiveness factor that Hari Kirtan was describing, the attractiveness for being in a farm community, moving to a farm community, that is very individual. What is the value for me personally, individually? What are my values, my principles, and how is my situation? So you say income, it's not that important. There are other things that are more important. And now I get that is the purpose why we are here. Once we have clarified all the principles and what Srila Prabhupada said, and I would like to support Nima actively in putting that together in some files, so that everyone can read it. Okay, this is what Srila Prabhupada said about this, about that, about that. There are the quotes, tak, 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 so that we have clarity once and for all, and everyone can individually see how to interpret that and how to apply that in one's life. But it's not just about Gopal Farm. This is for the whole world. Maybe it sounds like exaggerating, but there are around 9,500 years still to go. And we think about our children, and that might be a good selfishness. I think of my children. I don't move anywhere where I don't own land. I lived with Nityananda Prabhu, and there was a lease for 99 years, and I would have been happy to continue to live there. And with Nimai Prabhu, with a visa, I would still live there, because it was the safest place on earth for me. My children, they can just grow up, and they're not bothered by everything that's going on in the world. I don't need to worry for peer pressure, and I can live from just a little money, just earning a little money. And still, there were hardships in the beginning. Who wants to wait till a second well is drilled? And now here in Portugal, I pay $150 for a whole building for my office. And initially it just needs that determination to be willing to change and to get out of the comfort zone. And
I think, Prabhu, the most attractive feature will be the kirtan and the prasadam and hearing, chanting, the attractive features of the devotee community. And the main reason why we are coming to the farm is so that devotees who may not be Brahminically level, they can also associate with devotees, in living with them morning, evening, afternoon, talking. It becomes so enjoyable then. Alone, even if one is living, we are social animals. We need interaction and relationships. So that is the most attractive feature of a devotee association. That farm community, that is the purpose, to provide that. There is no main purpose is that. So everything else is supportive in nature, security, so that it doesn't disturb. But finally, this is what it is, the attractive feature of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, that makes it Devi Varnasrama. And it's so easy in a community where, like, when Hari Kirtan is there, when I was at the farm, yeah, we are talking about Krishna, and it's so easy the whole day, and there's so much space also for actual bhajan kirtans morning program together. It's much easier, definitely.
There's a letter Srila Prabhupada is writing, all the Kishans, meaning the farmers. I mean, basically, morning program, nothing basically, is just 3 times a day they should come together and chant for the deities.
Mhm.
And 3 times together, if we all come together and chant, it's just going to be so enjoyable. No? I
I
can't.
think Haribolananda got the concession from Srila Prabhupada directly. Yeah, you don't need to be in the morning program, right?
Pradyumna Prabhu, he's not there. Come back. So yeah, we started the discussion with trying to figure out where does Srila Prabhupada say that the devotee community should be also divided. And we heard from Srila Prabhupada about that. He started off saying how why Varnasrama is required in the devotee community. And he goes on further. We stopped there, and the discussion went into why some devotees would come into a devotee community, farm community. It was not planned, but it is good. We should have had the discussion before, because we are talking about these are foundational reasons why we are even discussing these things, including Varnashrama. Devotee community should be divided or not, whether there are enough devotees who want to move, what is the reason they would want to move. So this is very good discussion which we had. And the third is also, are there enough devotees? Because this Vamsi Priya Prabhu was making the point, and many devotees have also told me that one develop the devotee community first and then attempt Varnashrama system. So I feel like these are the three foundational issues before we even go further into. Um, so we discussed this today. Anything else we need to discuss on this point about why devotees should move, or why would they even move? Pradyumna Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
So, so the thing is that I want to just say, just like with Hari Kirtan Prabhu, he was saying that he met some ISKCON from some ministry. So they were telling that old people, they are not being taken care, or they are not feeling secure. But just I want to say, just like like in Bhagavatam, that Kapil Muni he instruct to Devuti that in old days this happens. This is a natural sequence. So even if we see in India also, old people, na, just like I refer to my grandfather, na, he's 87 years old. He washes his clothes. He lives in a room. He do not require anybody's concern. He's just chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. So like that should be the motive of old people na, who are Krishna conscious. That in old age I have to more participate in Kirtan, Shravanam, Kirtanam in place of people taking care of me. So the point is that the main thing in living in Varnashram like this community or farm, that they should be they have that goal of life, that Krishna Kirtan, as you were telling, that Kirtan, Prasadam, that should be the main aim. Not that people are not talking to me or taking care of me, security, children, all these things. So I want to ask, how is that devotees, even they are feeling so much insecure if they have such a mindset to live in that?
I know. I mean, this is the sorry state of the Maya ISKCON, I would say. This is the problem, that mixed Mishra Bhakti. Mishra Bhakti, because one wants something from Krishna, then Krishna also is not fully taking shelter, so he's also still in anxiety. Or if one is wanting Krishna only, then there's no anxiety then. So reciprocal, Krishna fully takes care, then one, just as you are saying, just the name is enough. The only shelter in the Kali Yuga is holy name and his lotus feet. Other than that, there is no asset required. And so that is any devotee who is properly following a bona fide spiritual master very soon comes to this understanding and he doesn't want anything else. So unfortunate that they feel like that. Like a devotee would want to give up assets, whatever material assets are there, that is a symptom, so that it doesn't disturb, I can chant, rather than want, want something, you have to maintain it, no? Everything takes time away, no? So why would somebody want more assets?
But wouldn't it take
It is like
many births?
Nirvati mark. That is called Nirvati mark. That Nirvati.
Right. Nivritti does not happen in one birth. It takes even for Bharata Yogishwaran, it took 3 births for his yoga to get complete. So the same Bhagavata teaches us that, right? So it is Nivritti is easy to say, but Nivritti is one of the most toughest things to put into practice.
So you are completely correct. It may take 100 births also, but the thing is that we have been given this great treasure trove by by the agency of Lord who is coming as Lord Chaitanya. And then through his acharyas, they are sending on devotees, they are telling, hey, chant Hare Krishna mantra, take shelter. And we take, like I was just hearing in the morning, I was taking shower, Prabhupada was saying, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavata means two Bhagavats. One is either follow the order of the spiritual master or dedicate fully to hear Bhagavatam. You know, either of these two one can do. And both, if one does very fast, what to speak of one life, within a few days one can get to this if one is serious sincere. But under the bona fide spiritual master, one life is so much sufficient. They are not, Srila Prabhupada kept saying again and again this thing, that, I mean, you practice whatever I have told you, you do that, in this life you will go back to Krishna. And that to the attempt to do it, sincere attempt to do it. There are many statements, even Shabbat says, even 60% you're able to do, I'll take you back to it. Because it is in his power then. It is not in like our power. Like if he sees you are attempting, he can remove, cut karke. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado. Uh, there is a
Right.
acharya.
Guru Ashtakam, right? The Prabhu, even the Gita, the Lord says that, right? Esham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha mayavesana chetasa. So he says, I will take that devotee out. I will transform that devotee in, and take that devotee out of this samsara, right? By my powers, I will lift him, and it won't be very long, so it will be very quick. And in the commentaries, the acharyas have written, Na chirat is refers to at the end of this life. So that is certainly, I mean, by his grace, it is certain that he will do it. Now the question is, for a group of such devotees to come together in a community like this and to have it and be self-sustaining, what does it take? Right? I think that is where we are like,
Big rail of, yeah,
right?
that's
Because look, I mean, everything else aside, right? What does it take to bring together a community of such devotees who have that as their primary intention and have this community be self-sustaining for them to be able to make spiritual progress?
that's the whole thing what Srila Prabhupada wants, and that's what I am trying to do is this. Yeah.
To do that, I mean, hearing these discussions for the last couple of weeks, that there are two things that comes to my mind, right? One, you need to have a community of such devotees who want to do this as their prime objective, right? A farm or a community that will facilitate such a development, that is one piece of it. To begin such a farm and to have a community like this, you need to have resources and a financial model that will support this, at least in the beginning, for this community to take root and to establish itself, right? So we are now talking two things, not just one, right? Yes, the one thing is having a community, bringing that community together, having a farm, establishing all of these things and running this, right? That is one. The other is the financial support and any other support that is needed to have this thing established and have this thing run. So, two things. Because just by having a community and figuring out what we do within the community, it is sufficient, not right.
So that's where we are at right now. So, see, all this you have seen struggling. So, some assets have come. Now, I'm trying to see how to settle, attract, invite, request, humbly request devotees to come, and security wise, land, business, how to give them so that they feel secure. Initial part, that's what you're saying. And so that the income benefits both the farm and themselves, like Vaishyas can do that. And as far as Brahmana, I would like to invite devotees who are dedicated to teaching and keeping consciousness very good and giving them land, place to stay free, of course, maybe some income also. Um, something like this, and trying to really, that's why we are meeting here, to try to help me do this, make a structure which will also create a template for others also. Like we go through this exercise, people can see, oh, this is how they developed it. And because it's not one single prescription which will apply for everywhere, and even here time place may change this, so it is good for everyone to, this is all being recorded and kept, so you can see how the whole progression happened in trying to develop it, pros and cons, and so it's perfect. So today we are finishing up almost, but I would really like to finish by hearing more from Srila Prabhupada about why it is required to be done, unless somebody else has any more topics to. Uh,
Nimai, yeah, just like now we heard that audio of Srila Prabhupada. So he was telling that chanting, just like it is not for or who will chant, that and Varnashram, it will give the facility so that one is peaceful and chant nicely. But the thing is that Kirtan and chanting, this is being done to many places, many people are doing. But Varnashram, these communities, and they are not being established nowhere. So it is a basic thing to attain the Kirtan or that stage, but it is not being established on very difficult. And the other part that chanting and people are doing, at least that is being easily to achieve, to make someone chant. You understand my question?
You mean to say chanting is easier to implement and teach and get started from different people in city everywhere, and but to get them to come to farm and chant is tough. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that one thing is, yeah, farm community we have to establish so that people can chant and peacefully they can do. Other thing is, okay, directly implementing chanting. So if that is more favorable by Varnashram, but it is not being established anywhere. And on the other part, chanting, okay, at least they have started and they are doing it, trying to do it sincerely. So how is that? Varnashram is important, so important thing, so that people can peacefully chant and attain the highest goal. But that is not being established, and directly people like this. why Varnashram is not being established so far? If it is, if everybody know that it is a very peaceful, people can do that thing easily in that
I think it is
atmosphere.
even with all these different queries which have been coming, genuine queries. I feel more and more that it's a few reasons. It is not, there is no, Srila Prabhupada didn't fully implement it, first of all. There is no model how which a Vaishnava society even should be divided or not. That was even a question even till now, And Srila Prabhupada is emphatically saying, "No, you have to, you are not at that level, no? Yeah, you can't talk of Vaishnava level like that because you are still under the modes. So you have to divide. So that philosophically also most devotees didn't really like go into it till now. But ashrama is being divided, but devotees are not thinking about Varna also, no, similarly. Should be divided. No? I think that is one thing, but I'm sure because Srila Prabhupada was not so many times talking about it, and people didn't really talk about it so much afterwards. So that's been kind of not hidden, but it's like not manifested so much. And second thing is that overall, no, see, when I was growing up, we were in lower middle class. Even though my father was in a good position in government, but the salary and all was very less. Everybody's, government employees, it was very less salary. We had servants, everything. But okay, we are not lower class, but we were middle class. We had servants, car, all these things. But still, it was not very many. And gradually, after 91, liberalization happened in India, and more income started coming, and people and Indians they came to US too, and the US also economy has become more. So I just feel that overall around the world, more middle class is there. They're more comfortable. There's so many like with the internet, everything. There is more affluence all around, and no wars are happening. Big things are big calamities, and like pandemic happened, and that really put people up, and people started coming towards these sides. But other than that, things have remained more or less peaceful. So people haven't seen the need so much of going away from where the thing technological advances and money was giving them. They're more comfortable like that. But that could change any time, like, this Bajao Remana, that whole verse is there. So, but there are pinpricks are always there, no? Children cannot be taught properly in the city environment. It's always a problem how to teach. So, any people who are thinking like that, they start homeschooling, they start moving to the rural community. Many Christian people are moving like that. I've seen that. So many. They move to rural communities and homeschool and everything just to save their children. So, I mean, more thoughtful people should be doing it already. They are doing it. Hari Kirtan Prabhu is doing it. So many devotees. Bharat Prabhu is already doing it. But there are less number of people doing it. And I think more and more people they start talking like that, and we start probably if we are able to develop a model, that may be a good catalyst for people to do it. Or I think it's just a progression which is happening. It's nothing wrong or anything. It's just devotees are maturing and feeling like that, purifying. And now I feel like there are many people suddenly talking about it, and I feel like this is the right time to at least start doing something. You all feel? Should we stop here?
I do have to go myself, so
Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
All you, huh, Prabhu? Hari Kirtan, Prabhu.
Krishna.
Weekdays is better for you, no? Kirtan Prabhu, now you're with your family? Or
No,
what?
weekends are also still the best.
Okay, then it's fine. Okay. Hare Krishna. So
Hare
we'll
Krishna.
see you, Jessica Mataji Badri, soon.
Yeah, I have to go now, and we'll leave in a half hour.
Okay. See you soon. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Bharat Prabhu. Christoph Prabhu, thank you for coming by. Your words of wisdom, pearls of wisdom. We have to go more organized, no? By one topic we take. But I think what's happening now, devotees are coming, we are learning from, coming to know each other, and everybody is coming to know, uh, like expressing what they have been feeling, and then gradually the thought process will mature, and then we can really categorize stages, and everything will. It's such a new topic, no, for us, all of us, when we're talking implementing really. Rancho Prabhu, you are quite quiet, huh, today?
Okay, I go. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. No, nothing like that. I'm just hearing.
And working.
No, bro. I'm just hearing. So
Acha.
I was just telling to my wife. So Prabhu was telling this kirtans are very important. So we are in Mayapur. We have to focus on that. We have to take advantage.
I want to do it like 3 hour daily, Kirtan, in the farm, if possible, no? In the
Oh,
evening.
very nice.
That's what
Very
Lord
nice, bro.
Chaitanya.
Yeah, even I am actually trying to find a good devotee who can train nicely. I'm searching from past 1 week, Prabhu.
Hari Kirtan is very good. I mean, Hari Katha Prabhu is so good, no? He can teach you the way to chant, not just the mridanga. He can teach you way. Because the whole point is to hear from Srila Prabhupada, pick that whole essence of chanting, and then chant that. He is one, and one Kuva Prabhu. They are both really assimilated from Srila Prabhupada, and they chant like that, like with consciousness of Prabhupada. My God, very, very effective. These two devotees
Yeah, but where is Kuya Prabhu now?
in LA. LA. Yeah. Harikatha Prabhu is
Harikatha Prabhu in Mayapur?